Hey guys, I'm Eric from Late to the Game Outdoors. Please excuse the shade and sunglasses on my face, but it is, my cloud cover disappeared. It's an August afternoon in Phoenix, so they're very necessary. Anyway, I wanted to come at you with a couple of videos about archery. If you at all have a tag this year, then you, like me, are just surely doing mad prep to get ready for archery elk season. I've got 25 days till my tag opens here in Arizona. And as I've been trying to dial some things in, I had my bow restrung and tuned as soon as the draw results came in, but my groups were just not tightening up like I wanted to, and I was having flyers mostly to the left, and so I've been doing all kinds of research trying to figure out what's going on with that. And I think I've stumbled upon a couple of things. One hardware issue in terms of my bow itself, which we'll talk about in the next video, but a couple of what I would call software things, so issues with me as the archer. So just want to take a quick look at a couple of things that I learned. Maybe it'll help you out if you've got some stuff going on or some arrows that are just going off who knows where and you have no idea why. Maybe these things will help you. Alright, well, the way I figured out a couple of things going wrong with my shot was that I started filming myself, which I had never tried before, and if you haven't, I would highly recommend it. You just can see so many things that you don't even realize you're doing, or maybe what you think you're doing, your body actually isn't responding that same way. And it really, you don't have to invest a whole bunch in that. If you've got a phone that can capture video, as hunters, most of us probably have a tripod lying around for glassing. I picked up this little phone adapter thing for a tripod for like $6 on Amazon. If you've got a phone that'll do the super slow-mo shot, that's hugely helpful with archery. You can just see every last nuance of what you're doing, what your bow's doing. Super helpful. So set that up wherever you shoot. Start to watch yourself and play it back, and I would even cue myself like that was a good shot, that was a bad shot, and then try to pick apart the differences in the good and bad shots. But the first thing I figured out was my grip. So I married into hunting. I did not grow up doing this, but was taught what I guess is now the old school way, where when you draw back, your fingers are totally open. So you would draw and then point your fingers, just no grip on the bow, just letting the tension hold that in place. And what I started to see, especially when I watched it in slow motion, was that there was an instant, as soon as I released the string, my left hand grabbed that bow, just because it feels like it's about to fall, so you can't really stop yourself from grabbing that. And whenever I would do that, when I would squeeze that down, I would push it to the left, and sure enough, all my misses would fly way left. So I did some research, did some digging, and found a few guys who all said a variation of the same thing, which was you don't want to clamp down on the bow because you actually start to torque the thing, but to put one or two fingertips right on the spine of your grip there. I don't know if spine's the correct term, but it's the front there, and then take these other fingers and just kind of run them along the side where there's not a lot of tension. There's the weight of you pulling back on the bow is what holds it in place, but you don't feel like you have to grab it. Like once the arrow releases, I can just sit here and hold this, whereas if I tried to hold it this way, it's trying to fall all over the place. So I changed that, which was hugely helpful. All right, the second thing I realized was wrong with my shot came from both videoing myself and comparing it to a podcast that I listened to. It's one of my favorites, the Backcountry Hunting Podcast. The guys from Exo Mountain Gear put it out. Always great content. I'll put a link below to the specific one, but they interviewed a guy named Joel Turner, who's just an expert shooter, sniper, everything. But he was talking a lot about the mental process of how everything goes, and also some of the physical side, specifically how guys tend to jerk the trigger, the release, and usually when guys realize there's a problem with that, they just end up switching to a different style of release. And so you may be one of those guys who has just a drawer full of different releases you've tried over the years, trying to fix whatever mental block keeps us from shooting the way we actually should. But he advised, a couple of key takeaways I got from that was that a lot of us, I think, keep that release right in that first crease of our finger. He advised getting that as low down as you could, so either in that pad in the middle or even down to that second knuckle, so that as you have that pulled back, there's all that pre-tension on there, and then you can use back tension, which we all hear so much about, and since all that tension is there, you're much less likely to prematurely jerk the trigger with your finger, and you're just going to squeeze back and it's going to release. And if you can get it to kind of surprise yourself, you're going to be a lot more consistent, a much better shot. So you bring it back, get that finger as low as you can, and then as you're getting your sight picture and just kind of holding steady, once it's ready, you go through your mental process, you squeeze, you let it fly. All right, guys, I hope something in that might be helpful for you. If nothing else, the link to the podcast might be more helpful because he explains it much better than I do. But just a couple things that I found fixing in my shooting really helped cut down some of those flyers and those way errant shots. And as the season approaches, those were making me more and more nervous since hunting is such a game of confidence. So give them a try, mess with it, and more than anything, find a way to record yourself. Play it back and analyze what you're doing and maybe make some tweaks from there. And if you're anything like me, you'll start to see those group sizes really come on down, make you feel a lot more confident as you head out into the woods this year.